Hi everyone, and happy Thursday. Kylene Terhune here. I'm answering all your questions about different diets, and today's question is how to avoid nutrient deficiencies when you're changing your diet. So this is a great question, and I'm really excited to answer it. Now, if you have any specific subtopic within this that I don't cover, please let me know. So let me know if you are watching live or if you are watching replay. Comment below so I can say hi to you and answer your questions. Coco Bean is right here with me, just FYI. She's here too. So I love this question. I'm going to kind of start with the overall concept. Let's say you're going from this is a big fear for people. You're going from a, hey Kristen, regular American diet, and you get told to go gluten-free or grain-free or whatever. And one of the biggest questions, this is so funny to me, one of the biggest questions I get is, actually I haven't had this in a long time, but I have had it before, is, well, where do you get your fiber? And that kind of like throws me for a second because, hey Stephanie, because so many people assume based on advertising and food pyramid and different political sort of FDA marketing that you have to have grains and wheat and whole grains and things like that to get a good fiber intake, when in reality, she's saying hi. When in reality, you can get so much fiber so easily when you eliminate grains and focus on produce, right? So if you had, and in fact, if you did something like a sweet potato and grapes and apples and zucchini and all this kind of stuff, that is packed with fiber. Now, yes, grains do have a lot of fiber and some other vitamins and nutrients, but we always want to focus on the highest quality. So how to avoid nutrient deficiencies? First of all, that's a loaded question when I don't know specifically what diet you're coming from to what diet you're going. Hey, Amanda. So let's just, I actually just read something about this. I think it was this morning actually, so it's kind of perfect timing. Keto diet is a great example. If you increase your fat content, you may, depending on, like, if you're increasing that and you're not increasing, you know, your vegetables or whatever, and the percentage of your macro content is really, really high fat, then you may need more riboflavin. You may end up becoming deficient in riboflavin. If you are going gluten-free and you are just substituting, sorry, and you are just substituting, like I did initially, if you are just substituting gluten-free products, so things that say gluten-free on the box, for what you would normally have that has gluten in it, like Oreos and crackers and breads and things like that, without reading the ingredient labels to make sure that they're actually made with real ingredients and whole foods, then you're probably getting something that's made with a lot of starches and sugars and fillers and not great ingredients. And in that case, you may end up deficient in, if you're just going from regular food to gluten-free foods and not getting a lot of vegetable intake, then you may end up deficient in some B vitamins because, you know, if you're eating a lot of breads and things, it's fortified, and you may, she's yawning, I don't know if you can see that. Yes, I love you too. Now she's looking at me. You may get deficient in some B vitamins. So this is a really valid question. You know, we're thinking about some of the most common nutrient deficiencies that people experience are magnesium, selenium, vitamin D, zinc, B vitamins. I think I already said that. And so these are really common nutrient deficiencies a lot of people have. But this is almost never an issue when you are replacing processed foods with whole foods. So let's talk about gut health for just a second, because this plays a big role in it. If your gut is lined with all these cells, that are called epithelial cells. And on top of them, they have fingers that are called villi. And the villi are very important, and it's very important to keep them healthy because they absorb nutrients from your food. So even if you're eating the perfect diet, if you have damaged villi and they're either broken or they're blunted, or whatever, then you're not going to be absorbing the nutrients from your foods. So even if they're completely damaged, which is like the case in celiac disease, all those fingers are gone. And in leaky gut, which most Americans have some level of leaky gut, you're going to have damage to those cells and damage to that villi, which means that you are not going to be absorbing the nutrients even if you are eating a really healthy food. So it is a really valid concern. Now, what we want to do, obviously, is eat a diet that eliminates things that cause that inflammation, that cause that damage, and then bring in foods that nourish those cells and heal. So the exciting thing about your gut lining is that if you take away the stress from it, so anything that's bombarding it, that's causing inflammation, that's causing the damage, that's putting fuel on that fire, so to speak, they replenish themselves within 3 to 7 days. So every 3 to 7 days, you have a totally new gut lining, which is pretty awesome. And the problem comes in when the stress burden, the toxic overload, the inflammation, the exposure to things that break that down is too frequent and too consistent for it to repair itself efficiently, and it just then begins to break down. Okay, so does that make sense? So we got to make sure that we're doing kind of two things here to make sure that we're getting the nutrients that we need. One, we're not eating the foods that break down our gut lining, and two, we're replacing the inflammatory, damage-causing foods with foods that are really nourishing and really healing to the gut. Okay, so if you're someone that's had chronic digestive disorders for a really long time, or you really feel like you're nutrient deficient, there are a couple tests that you can run just to sort of see where your body's at. And one that I would do, and I do this with every single client without question, is a stool test. So I would want to see if you're having a lot of nutrient deficiencies and you're having problems. Is there something going on in your gut that is hindering its ability to heal? Like I said, that toxic overload, that stress burden. You guys got to see this. She's laying here. Oh my gosh, she's awesome. So if we have like a lot of bugs, if we have bacterial infection, if we have a yeast overgrowth, all that kind of stuff, or parasites that are kind of burrowing into that gut lining and causing more inflammation and opportunity for food sensitivities and damage, all that kind of thing, we want to make sure that anything that's within our control that we can eliminate and that we can get out, that's causing that burden, that we target that and we get rid of it. So the stool test is really great. Another one, if this is your specific concern, would be a hair mineral analysis test or a blood nutrient test. So a hair mineral analysis test is going to look for heavy metals as well as different minerals and vitamins that you basically cut your hair at the root, and it tells you where you're at with those. A blood nutrient test is just a blood draw, and it's giving you your nutrient values through your blood. So there's benefits to both of those. But to monitor it, so what I would do is I would run those, and then I'd make sure that we are dialing into the nutrition so that we're eliminating the inflammatory foods and then healing your gut. And then we could run those tests again in 3 to 6 months to see the improvement. And of course, you always want to correlate that with your symptoms. So are you feeling like you're nutrient deficient? Like, are you maybe like really, really tired and you're thinking, oh man, I'm really low on some B vitamins? There's some stuff you can play with too at home. So food-wise, we want to make sure that we're getting a really, really large spectrum, a lot of variety of vitamins and nutrients and minerals. And so, for example, one of the traps we can fall in, especially when we're new to cooking and new to making our healthy foods and our diet changes, is making the same foods all the time. So I like peas, my kids like corn, and the only way they'll eat broccoli is if it's roasted. So those are the only 3 vegetables we ever eat, and they're on rotation. That is simply not enough. So every green and vegetable has a different set of vitamins and minerals and nutrients that your body needs. And like I talked about in yesterday's video, we're not getting as much nutrient density in the foods as we used to, just because of like different soil issues and farming issues and things like that. And so it's really important not only that we prioritize the quality of our vegetables, but also that we prioritize a lot, like getting a lot of them. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner multiple times a day. I know some recommendations go all the way up to 9 cups of vegetables a day. 9. So a lot of people are like, holy crap, I like maybe eat one at dinner. Okay, so there is always room for improvement when it comes to increasing your vegetables. Now, it doesn't mean that it has to be all salads or has to be all raw. In fact, you want a variety as well. Some nutrients come out more when the vegetable is raw, and some nutrients come out more when the vegetable is cooked. It's also beneficial to get a variety in your digestion as well, because some people are a little more sensitive to, like, especially if you have a lot of gut damage, to breaking down the raw vegetables, as opposed to like it's a little more gentle on your digestive system to eat the cooked vegetables. So variety is important for a lot of reasons. You want to give your digestion a break. You want to get a variety in the types of nutrients you're getting, and then you want to get a variety of, you know, cooked and raw as well. So depending on the diet, there are some potential nutrient deficiencies that you can get. But if you are really focusing on switching from processed foods to whole foods, most likely you're actually going to increase your nutrient density. And that's really the goal with any diet that's worth its salt. If you are changing your lifestyle and your diet, if it's worth anything, you should be increasing your nutrient density, period. End of story. If you're doing anything other than that, the diet is worthless. You shouldn't even consider doing it. So every diet, no matter what, the baseline of it should be fruits and vegetables, period. Whether you're vegan, vegetarian, and that's a whole other story. It's very difficult to be healthy long term with those, because again, we need B vitamins, we need a lot of things that animal products provide to us. Sustainably sourced, carefully raised, kindly and humanely done, but it is very important for our bodies. Eggs, for example, have incredible nutrients. Fish, you know, omega-3s, incredibly beneficial anti-inflammatory food. So really, really important to get variety. Really important to eat a lot of vegetables. Really important if you're switching your diet from one diet to another, or from standard American to a diet or whatever, making sure that its goal is to increase nutrient density. I'll give you a great example. So the AIP, which is the autoimmune protocol diet, is something that I will use with clients that have a diagnosed autoimmune condition. It is by far one of the most restrictive diets you can be on. I mean, you're even eliminating healthy food groups like nightshades, and spices that are really beneficial for you, because in that diet you are eliminating anything that has been shown to have anything like that can be damaging to your digestive system. So for super sensitive people, like I mentioned yesterday, autoimmune clients tend to be way more sensitive than, you know, regular. So autoimmune clients can go on this autoimmune protocol. Anything that has been shown to cause damage in the gut is eliminated, even if it's from a healthy food source. And so it's a very, 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 very restrictive diet. However, one of the most restrictive diets ever. If you are doing it properly and you are focusing on both sides, the elimination and the introduction of all these other foods that are extremely nutrient dense, like all these vegetables and greens and things like organ meats and beef liver. Beef liver is one of the best things you can possibly do. And if you cannot handle eating beef liver, you can always take grass-fed beef liver supplements. You're going to get a ton of B vitamins. You're going to get just an amazing whole food version of what your body needs, as opposed to you know, like an artificial supplement. So beef liver is really, really amazing. But if you're focusing on eliminating the inflammatory stuff, but then also including all of the nutrient dense foods that they encourage in the AIP diet, you're going to end up, like I said, in one of the most restricted diets. You're going to end up with more nutrient density than you've ever had in your entire life if you do the program correctly. So that should always be consideration number one when you are making a lifestyle change. Is it more nutrient dense? So if you're switching, then it really shouldn't be a concern, right? So if you're getting more vegetables, more fruits, more antioxidants, all these different things, magnesium, selenium, zinc, that's where it is in the food. It's in fish. It's in healthy fats. It's in salads and greens and leafy vegetables and colored, roots and tubers and all these different things. So the more color, the more variety, the more the different foods, the different combinations that you can get cooked raw, from this grocery store, as organic as you can get, as many colors as you can get, as much variety as you can get, as many cups of vegetables and fruits as you can in a day, and then including the fatty fish and the healthy avocado and olive oil and all that kind of stuff. You're going to end up with way more vitamins and minerals than you've ever had, and you should feel more energy and get better sleep and have better digestion and all those sorts of things. And if it has been a chronic ongoing issue, just remember there may be things like previous medical history stuff that needs to be taken into consideration, or surgeries, or heavy metal exposure, or toxicity exposure, or whatever it is that may lead you to actually wanting to take that next step in taking the tests to really see where am I and how can I maybe detox a little bit to assist my gut in healing, and then I can really start absorbing the nutrients that I'm eating. So if you're eating a really healthy diet and feel like you're just missing something, that might be where to start. So that's what I have. If I didn't answer your question, please let me know. If you have any other questions based on what I talked about, please let me know. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and Coco says bye-bye.